Hi everyone, welcome back to Autoplay. My name is Otto, and this is the finale of Part 1 of Burial at Sea. In the last episode, we closed all the vents, and now only one remains, so we are going to head to the toy department to try and entice Sally to come out of her little cave by cranking up the heat, as one does. So, yeah. Let's get straight to it, I guess.
Think you can pick this?
I'll see what I can do.
This is probably going to be a shorter episode, because there's only a few locations between now and the ending. But hopefully afterwards we'll have a nice discussion about what Part 1 meant and all that, and hopefully you'll end up being a decent length that you'll all enjoy. This thing is so overpowered. What happens if I freeze this when there's coins and stuff underneath it? Oh, this doesn't freeze. That's weird. Yeah, see, here's the vacuum that is part of the air grabber. Can't quite remember what else was going to be a part of it. I think like a mechanism from maybe a vending machine or something like that.
Gary, do you see that too? Looks like some doorway into another place of time.
I do, Betty, and it's absolutely nothing to worry about.
Are you sure?
Betty, we live
Nice blenders. Weird looking toasters.
You'll need to get used to seeing a few strange sights from time to time.
I suppose we are living in the future.
These little mannequin sets are so creepy. Look, the kid's in the oven in this one. That is not the place for a child, if you guys didn't know. Alright, let's head forward.
Locked from the other side. How the hell are...
Look. I think I can squeeze through. Give me a boost.
I heard the little rat scurrying this way.
What's taking so long?
I can't get the...
Come on!
I'm trying. Just give me a second.
Two frozen dudes.
Do it.
Oh, did I beat them? I didn't hear the, like, screech thing. So I wasn't sure. That looks like it, and we are out of our radar range. Okay, let's head on.
You don't seem any worse for wear.
Speak for yourself.
Ugh, she looks so good in this game. You know, I still haven't found a machine gun. Yeah, and it's not in our wheelhouse. Oof. 5 lockpicks. Oof. Hurt ourselves in that a little bit. Very dark in this corner. She is plugging her nose. These bodies been here for a while? Or is this like sewage? Am I playing in sewage? Ah!
You still gonna be able to shoot straight?
No, I keep forgetting there's just buckets of booze everywhere in this game. The slacker is not your friend. That's because he is you.
The smuggler is the friend of the parasite.
Okay. Ooh, we just had enough. I don't know why they give you so many lockpicks now. Because I don't think there's like any left. Excuse me. Any things to unlock, I mean. Roar to life. When your shield breaks, damage dealt and movement speed are increased for 5 seconds and your weapon clip is instantly refilled. That's amazing. I'm gonna equip that one. This should be our last audio log for this part.
Observation number 22 regarding unknown phenomena. What is the source of phenomena? Suchong employ observers. Observer task to find more phenomena. Observer reports back. Young woman appear from phenomena. And just as soon, young woman disappear. Observer has nothing else to report on topic. If Suchong can find this woman, she will make interesting new phenomena.
Obviously talking about our dear Elizabeth. Alright, let's head on. We are literally in the end stretch. Like, just through this way is the ending. Our manager, your manager, knows what's best for you. Baloney! I agree with Atlas. Terrible. Oh, it's headless. Monday morning blues, perk up with amphetamine. There's the last vent. In the toy department. Oh, these are those nesting dolls that we saw. Motorized Patriot, our dear enemy.
Alright, let me go check the exhaust vent.
Again, the machine gun.
No sign of her. Looks like we'll need to turn up the thermostat if we're gonna flush her out. It's over that way.
Hire, fire, negotiate. Kids, captain of industry playset. One thing...
Mr. DeWitt, the thermostat's back upstairs.
That's where we were at the start.
We need to head for that thermostat.
Do
It's
it.
our only option.
We're just taking a little look-see around.
The thermostat, Mr. DeWitt. Waiting won't make this any easier.
Oh, a little train track. That's cute. Alright, let's go crank up the heat. So you'll notice, this is that pile that we were on the other side of before. Doesn't bode well for us, since clearly what they were trying to keep out is in here with us.
The thermostat's right there. Turn the heat up.
I'm not going to burn her.
It's the only way to bring her to us. If you won't do it, I will. Just give me the word.
Okay.
Turn it up.
What?
Turn the goddamn thermostat up.
Do you hear that? We need to get back to the exhaust before we lose the girl again.
Sally! Sally, come out! It isn't working.
I told you she's coming.
Elizabeth, why are you being so cold?
Turn it off. It's not gonna
We
work.
have to turn it off! We are hurting her! Sally! Sally? Sally, it's Booker. It's me. Sally, come on. I'm gonna get you out of here. Sally! Come out here right now! Sally. No.
Oof. Oh, the Big Daddies are so scary. Oh, that's new.
Open it!
Okay.
We own these truths to be self.
Ah!
Elizabeth?
There.
Oh my god.
Down. I'll see what else I can find.
Go ahead.
There you go.
What is a life compared to a fake.
Oh, that electric shot. Oh my god, did he pull me off of the skyline again?
Do it.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Still looking.
Ugh.
Mr. DeWitt, the girl.
Sally!
Mr. DeWitt,
It's okay, Sally.
is she?
Look, it's her. She's come to see you. We're going home. Do you want to go home? Don't, please, don't. I'm here. I just want to take you home. I just want to. Give her back. Give her back.
You're hurting her.
She's got to come with
She's
me.
not your child.
She is mine.
Let her go. Let her go.
She's mine. Shut it down. Shut down the machine.
Got to pull her through.
Shut down the machine. She's not through. Shut it down. I remember all of it. That poor child.
She wasn't yours, Comstock. I wasn't.
No.
Yet you had to have me, didn't you?
No, this isn't right.
When the guilt was too much.
You turned to us to solve your problem.
To provide a place to go where you might forget.
Where there never was an Anna in the first place.
Comstock was never one to own up to his errors, was he, brother?
Never comfortable with the choices he made.
Always seeking someone else's life to claim as his own.
Elizabeth. Child. I am so sorry.
No, you're not. But you're about to be.
And that's the end of part 1. So, what'd you think? Surprise child death at the end there. Very, very vengeful Elizabeth. Kind of scary seeing her like that. But yeah, so that's the end of part 1. Obviously, the reason that, you play as Elizabeth in part 2 is because the character you were just playing as died. But yeah, so basically the Booker we were playing as the whole time was really a Comstock. And in this universe, when he was trying to take Anna with him into his universe, the tear accidentally closed on her head instead of her pinky, thus killing her, and he was riddled with so much guilt that he asked the Lutesses to just open up a tear to a different world where he never had to think about her again. And when he went through that tear, he lost a lot of his memories of what had happened and just started living in Rapture as Booker. Took on his identity. I mean, I guess it's technically his own identity when you think about it. But just started living as him. And while he was there, he met Sally. They sort of started to form a bond. And was in the process of trying to help her. But Elizabeth had other plans. This kinda is revealed concretely in the next part, but I'll just say it clear now. But that was the final Comstock. Basically, my understanding of it, and I guess it's open up to interpretation, was that when Elizabeth, drowned Booker and destroyed all the realities where Comstock existed, because this Comstock had jumped and hid in a different reality, he was able to be spared from that, because the whole time is actually happening all at once sort of thing. So my understanding is that by jumping through to Rapture, he was spared from that, basically. And so Elizabeth came to Rapture to track him down and kill the last remaining Comstock. And, she succeeded. Boy, did she ever. Basically, everything she had said was kind of like a long con to get to Comstock. And some people can be like, well, why didn't she just walk up to him and kill him? Just like that. But she wanted him to remember what he had done and then killed him. Just one of those little character things where it's not just about the end goal, it's about the process. You want people to know that they deserve the death they're about to be given. And so all of that stuff where she pretended not to know what little sisters were and all that other kind of things, that was just part of the ruse she was playing. And boy did she succeed in doing it. But the question at this point is, at what cost, right? Because she was totally willing to just completely sacrifice and harm Sally if it meant she got what she wanted in her revenge, that shot of her with blood on her face, just pure vengeful. It's supposed to be like a holy shit moment for her character, how could our Elizabeth, who cared so much about people and stuff like that, be capable of doing something so intense, so strong, and was willing to harm a child, which is, kind of funny as well, because that's why she killed Daisy Fitzroy, because she was looking like she was going to harm a child, and now Elizabeth just did it herself. And that's kind of what I actually do like about this part of the DLC, is that, it's not just, here's the same story again, instead, you got our Elizabeth, and her character is being pushed through something that's actually a big change for her character, and it's something that she can't just walk away from, she can't pretend didn't happen. It's something that she's going to have to address going forward. What does this mean for her as a character? And I think that was an interesting and smart approach for it. Part of it does make the whole DLC feel a little bit weaker, just because you spend so much time playing as Comstock, and you only get little bits of the real juicy story towards the end. But I think it's context that's absolutely needed for the setup that is what's about to happen in part 2. And I can tell you, I think I've already mentioned this, I probably have, I don't have a great memory for what I've said, but I believe part 2 is the strongest entry in the BioShock series, personally. I think it does what it sets out to do so well. I think the shorter runtime just makes everything feel a lot stronger. I think it does an absolute great job of it feels different than playing as Booker. It doesn't just feel like Booker with painted nails or in a dress. It feels like you're playing as Elizabeth, and you see the world how she sees it, and I just really like that touch. I'll of course get into more of this for when we start the next part, but I just always really liked how much it felt like Elizabeth plays different from Booker and plays like Elizabeth. Of course, there is some carryover just because, it's like a DLC. Like, they can't make tons of totally new stuff just for it. They have to reuse a lot of stuff that they've already developed for the main game. That's why you see skylines and skyhooks and all that kind of stuff in this DLC. But I came away from it very impressed, very affected. I think it's a very strong end to BioShock Infinite. And yeah, if you were a little disappointed with this DLC, a lot of people were. I wasn't when I played, but some people did have their misgivings. Part 2 definitely makes up for it. It is very, very strong, and it feels like it actually has something to say about all of this kind of stuff, and I think it has a great payoff. Especially if you're familiar with the first BioShock game, but even without knowing the first BioShock game, it definitely pays off Elizabeth's character really, really well. And I'm really excited to share it with you. It's definitely, it's my favorite of the BioShock series. And I don't want to talk too much about it now because I'd love to save this stuff for when we actually do those episodes, which will start right away. There will be no break between the two parts. Tomorrow, the first episode of part 2 will go up, so don't worry about that. But yeah, I just want to let it be out there that how I feel about it. It means a lot to me. It is the thing that keeps reverberating in my mind when I think about BioShock Infinite. Not to oversell it or anything like that, but I just think it's really strong. It's a very strong end. It's very emotional. It's very BioShock, of course. It feels in tune with the tone of the series. I'll say that. But it also it feels... Towards the end of the main game, I talked about how I felt like the humanity of the story was taken away. That they had expanded the universe to the point that it kind of dehumanizes everything. And Burial at Sea Part 2 does a lot of work to retighten the focus again and bring it to a strong, emotional human core at its center. And I think it's a really great story for that. And so, I'm excited to share it with you. It'll be a good end to this Let's Play series. And it's a good end to BioShock, in my opinion. And I hope that I hope people's takeaways aren't diminished by not having played BioShock 1. I don't think the story completely requires knowledge about BioShock 1, but there is key parts of it that play into it, of course. But at its core, it's still a story about Elizabeth and who she is as a character and who she is now that she has done this terrible thing to Sally. And what that means for her going forward, and what it means to try to pay back a debt that you owe someone. Not a financial debt, of course, but it's just interesting the way that this theme of debts keeps coming back around, and getting new layers to it. And I think Elizabeth's is the strongest telling of that kind of story and that theme. Yeah, so that's it for Burial at Sea Part 1, Episode 1. I never know what to call it. Because, that screen that flashed up was end of Part 1. But then, the official title is Episode 1. But if I call it episode 1, people might think it's like episode 1 of, like it's just confusing. But hopefully it'll be fine. Either way, I'm glad that you've stuck with this channel, that you're watching this right now, and I hope you're as excited to start part 2 as I am. Because it's really good, in my opinion, of course. There are some flaws with it, of course, which we'll definitely talk about as they come up, but I think it's really solid, and it works well as a nice whole, I feel like there's just this trend that I notice where the developers put out a DLC for a game, and the DLC, due to its tight focus, usually it focuses on a different character from the main game. I don't know what it is, but I always end up coming away from it feeling like it's better than the main game. And I definitely, honestly, truly believe that Burial at Sea Part 2 is better than the main game. Just like I think The Last of Us Left Behind was way better than The Last of Us itself. That's a series to talk about on a different day. It's kind of crazy to think that BioShock Infinite and The Last of Us came out in the same year. And with The Last of Us 2 on the near horizon, of course. Let me know if you want me to cover that for the channel. I'm kind of undecided right now just because of scheduling and stuff like that. Sorry, that's off topic. I'll just wrap it up now. I feel like I'm rambling. I'm glad that you guys have watched it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you came away, just taking in the world building, taking in the atmosphere of Rapture Pre-Fall. I loved seeing it. I also, I don't know, this made Rapture palatable for me, I'll say. It felt more like an actual place. I mean, it's obviously still a little heightened and a little unsubtle in some of the themes it says. But for me, it felt more real than the original BioShock. And it also felt more playable to me than the original BioShock. And, yeah. So, next episode, the start of part 2, the beginning of Elizabeth's new journey, and the first time we get to play as her. I hope you look forward to it. I know I am, and I will see you there. Bye.